Rising to the top, from humble beginnings to the Grammy. Zakes Bantwini is a South African singer and record producer and entrepreneur. Over the past 2 decades, Zakes has cemented his place as a pioneer in dance and Afro house music. He rose to prominence with his distinctive fusion of Afro house, blending traditional South African sounds with contemporary electronic elements. In 2023, he won his first Grammy Award for Bayete, a powerful collaboration with Vota Keleman and Nomlebo Zikode.
Good day, everyone. My name is Zakes Bantwini, but I was born Zakele Matita, but nobody cares about that. Nobody cares about Zakele Matita because that guy is not as cool as Zakes Bantwini. But I was invited to come and speak to you guys. I asked my team, why me? I feel like I was betraying men's conference, yeah? I've never addressed a men's conference. Here I am addressing a women's conference. But basically, I do not think that perhaps my story might be inspiring. But most of the people, they would think that my story is inspiring. But I'm just going to tell you exactly how I got to where I am today, with the hope that some of you guys may take an inspiration from that story. You know, one person taking that particular inspiration is a win for me. I was born in Kwamashu, very small street, a small, dusty Kwamashu, north of Durban, not Durban North, but that's why I'm saying north of Durban, because Durban North is something else. And it's quite funny because my wife was born in Durban North and I was born in the north of Durban. So I was in the township while she was in the suburbs. But, you know, I had to work my way all the way to get into, meeting here. But basically, I was born during apartheid. Like any other person, the only things I could see when I was growing up are those people who had cars, with either a principal or a thug. People who were dressing well were those who were perhaps otsotsi, or they may do something illegal. You know, the only legal person or the car that you will see, the only legal, it would be from a pastor or a principal. Even teachers at that time when I was born didn't even have cars. So basically, I did not see any of my lives. I wasn't actually inspired about the life that I was living. The only time that I got to be inspired was when I watched TV. And when I watched TV, that's when I saw my life. We don't speak about this person publicly, but I think because it's my story, I have to tell the truth. So when I looked at the music video of R. Kelly, You Remind Me of My Jeep, that's where I saw my life. It's like, this is what I want to be. And this is the life that I want to choose. This is the life I want to lead or follow. And that's basically what happened with me. My mother told me, if you want to be a musician, or if you want to be anything that you'd like to be, you need to go to school because you'll be different than the next guy. She believed that just me being talented wasn't going to take me very far. But going to school is one thing that will take me far. So indeed, I started my career as a dancer. You know, I did almost every dance genre except ballroom. But I did contemporary dance, I did Gamput's dance, I did electro dance. I literally, my life was at the theater when I was very, very, very young, which saw me having an opportunity to go to Paris. So I lived my life when I was 18 years old in 1999 in Paris, you know, so I could speak a little bit of French while I was there. But I think it's when my life really, really changed, because I remember saying to myself, if this is the last time I am in this city, God will be so unfair. How can you expose me to such a life and never, ever bring me back here? But my choreographer, Jean-Francois, he really, really knocked the love of dance music off my system, you know? I mean, he would say, Zakes, don't be a banana, you have to be strong, you know? So, he was a French guy. So he really knocked the love of dance out of my system. So when I was after 6 months spending time in Paris, coming back to South Africa, I remember saying to myself, I don't want to dance anymore, but I still want to be in the entertainment industry, and then, which means I'm going to pursue music. So when I got home, my mother said, oh, so you don't want to do dance anymore? Yes. You want to be a musician? Yeah. Go to study music. So I enrolled at the Technical Natal. That's where I met a guy called Nati, Tanduwazi, and Mnobi, whom now you know them as Black Coffee, Shota, and Demo. I think that's where our journey started, and my journey as a musician. In my third year of studying, my lecturer at that time, Bruce, walked into the studio. We were doing studio production. He said to us, okay, now that you've studied music, now that you are just about to finish, what are you guys going to do after your qualification? Do you want to be like, he named the people who had already graduated, who were just sitting on campus. You want to be like those guys, because whatever that you are pursuing, those particular gigs are the gigs that we're still pursuing them as your lecturers. Because after school, we go and do those gigs. So tell me, what is your plan? And for me, I was like, why is this guy saying this thing only now? Why didn't you say it when we were doing first year? Saying it right at the third year, what am I going to do now? So I opened my company, Mayoni Productions. And I remember the Mayoni Production, when I opened it, was a company to address the issue of females, like females. I think I remember the story of Etta James, of how Etta James was treated as a recording artist. And I remember opening my record label, was like, I want to sign only female artists so that I be fair to female artists. Unfortunately, being new into business, the first person that I signed verbally. So after finishing a project, when I was just about to release, he said, oh, I've got myself a new home. Took my music and went to another record label. Well, that was a lesson. But that lesson also made me sign now the guy called El Vovo Tirang, which I produced, and then it became a success. So that's where my music business really started, you know. So after completing my qualification as a musician, then there were some other things that really spoke to me, you know. Growing up in Wamashu, the fact that I don't see any of the people that I was in school with, or I don't see them at the airports, I don't get to engage with them. There's nobody in this room whom I went to school with. But I've seen my wife you know, meeting people that she went to school with, somebody, oh, no, I went to school. I don't happen to see all of those people. But I do see them every time when I go back to Wamashu. Famously, they will ask me for a rent or a 2 rent. And they also gave me a name, Ghetto King. Where are we king when I Zakes? And I know, obviously, they called me a Ghetto King because obviously they wanted some money. So to prove that you're a king, then you have to pay some 2 rand or 5 rands to buy a cold drink or a cigarette. But that's basically my life. My life is a guy who lived 20 years of his life, 21 years, uncomfortably, and now he's lived 20 years also of his life a bit comfortable. So in one lifetime, I've seen the best of both worlds, of living in extreme poverty and living extremely comfortable. And which is something that I feel like it's so rare in South Africa, because some people who had the same life, who had the same upbringing as me, they don't find themselves in a situation that I am right now. I mean, amongst many other challenges that come with the fact that you are a musician. Firstly and foremost, perception. And it's a perception that I think we also share with females or with women. The perception is that we always have to qualify, why people have to take you seriously as a musician, because you are just an entertainer. And 9 times, then whatever, you probably, when you die, people are going to have to contribute towards your funeral, because you are not organized, and you don't know how to manage your finances, and you cannot even participate in any business dealings or contribute when it comes to politics or have a say when it comes to social ills. Those are issues that were somehow affecting me as a musician, which, you know, spoke to me and said I wanted to do something about that, which I went to study social entrepreneurship at the Gordon Institute of Business Science. So studying social entrepreneurship, one thing that really spoke to my heart was the fact that social entrepreneurs, their bottom line is not how much money they have in their bank, but it's how many lives they've changed, you know? That's really their bottom line. And that really touched me. So after qualifying as a social entrepreneur, that is when I'm very excited to say I'm launching my foundation this year. But these are things that one wanted to do to kindly change the perception. So it's the same thing when it comes to women. Women are not seen as people who can lead companies. You know, you somehow, with the perception of women, even in other women, that particular perception has to be changed, because you sometimes hear women saying, I wouldn't want to have a female boss. You know? You'll hear sometimes females saying, yo, I would choose a male boss anytime than a female boss. So it then tells you that there's still a lot of perception around the issue of women are still unable to lead or lead fairly. If a woman is reporting to a female boss, in whatsoever that a female boss might be objective, whatever that they are doing, she may not take it well because it is a female. But that female can take it because it is a male. It's the same thing as a musicians. We are called to say something about social ills when we are quiet. But when we say something, we are told to stick to your lane. You don't know what you are talking about. So we are caught between the rock and the hard place. So we do not know when to speak or maybe when not to speak. But as I'm about to complete my conversation, because I was only given 5 minutes, in which I think mine I have about a minute. But since I'm African, I can have an African time. Is one of the most microphone I've been in. It was the loudest stage was at the Grammys in 2022. And that journey of going to the Grammys, there still has a lot of female who contributed towards that. In the form of a voice of Nomcebo Zigote with the song that we did, and shout out to Volta, and also another female who wasn't there and the voice was not there, Tulsi. I don't know if she's here. Oh, there. So Tulsi, she's representing Volta as a manager. And she's one female who worked tirelessly and worked so hard in making sure that we're in that particular stage. And that tells you about the role of what females will do. When I look at music, I really look at, when I explain music, as like a female. If music was a human being, it would be female. Because music has harmonies, has resilience, and it has leadership. And when you speak of harmony, that's what women represent, you know? Because in music, you have to harmonize, and things have to be in the same keys. That's what women always do. When they try by all means in their communication, they always want to create an environment when there's harmony. Also with the resilience, you know, of resisting some of the hardest hardships. I mean, the pain of giving birth and still smile. I don't think with Tina as men, we can bear that pain, you know? And also leadership. In leadership, I want to speak with one of the most important female in life, which I think most of the people here, we owe a thank you. It was a birthday yesterday, Mam Miriam Makeba. We owe a lot as South Africans to that wonderful female artist. Because not that only Miriam Makeba, she was a person who really told the world about our plight, but she was also a person who told the world about O.R. Tambo and about the African National Congress at that particular time. When she said she did not have any constituency to address the UN, therefore she's going to ask someone who is a representative of South African people to come and speak to the UN. And that was O.R. Tambo. So without Miriam Makeba, we probably wouldn't even have an opportunity to address the United Nations back then if it wasn't for Miriam Makeba. Now that is the role of a female. Let alone the fact that I was born by one, my mother, which she said to me when I always wanted to achieve things and things wouldn't happen the way I wanted them to happen, or at the time in which I wanted them to happen. My mom would say these words, famous words to me, Zakele, dreams delayed are not dreams denied. You know? I wish she was around just to see what I've become. You know, just to witness the things that I've done over the years, I'm sure she'll be so proud. It's one thing that every time I achieve anything, I always say, I just wish my mother could be here to see me. I wish my mother was in this room to hear me speak. Because even this language that I'm addressing you in is a language that I picked up on the road. There was never anybody who taught me how to speak English. But it's something that is self-taught, which I picked up from different people because I understood that to navigate around business in South Africa, you needed to have a business language, which one needed to do. So just understand, whenever you are competing for someone from the township, just understand the journey that they have traveled to get into that boardroom. So don't ever judge them about how they speak their English or how they address you. Just look at the context. Look at the content and what they are presenting and give opportunities to those particular people. We understand that women, we have a role to play, and now I'm glad that more and more of you guys are in these particular boardrooms. I pray and I wish that particular perception that you are still trying to change around women, that you also think about us as entertainers. Take us a bit seriously, listen to us, you know, have engagement with us, because we are indeed dads, we are members of the community, and also we are South Africans. With those words, I want to say thank you very much. My name is Zakes. Appreciate it.